In today's video, we're looking at shooting Super 16 RAW video with this little camera, the Canon EOS M. I'm going to break down the lenses that I'm using, the setup, the whole rig, and the settings that I'm using with my EOS M and RAW video to get these fantastic vintage shots out of this tiny little camera. So if you're into that stuff, then stick around. It's going to get a bit nerdy, but that's okay. Let's get into the video. Okay, so first things first, shooting Super 16, go ahead and get yourself a film camera. Nothing beats film. But when you're on a budget, then I think the Canon EOS M with Magic Lantern RAW, you get capabilities to shoot RAW video up to 14 bits. With this camera, I think for the price is a fantastic digital solution to replicate that old film-like look. So I'm gonna break down the rig that I'm using right now, how I'm setting this thing up, and then I'm gonna share my settings with you guys. So first things first, with this rig, I have a Canon EOS M50 Cage. It fits absolutely fine. There's some gaps here and there, but overall you can get a nice grip on this thing. And this is just so I can put monitors on the top, microphones on the side. It just allows you to attach more things to it. Now on the back here, it's like a magnetic clip. This is called the LCD V6. It's like an external viewfinder for 3-inch displays. And with this, I can just nail my focus so much better when I'm out in bright situations in comparison to the EOS M screen alone. I mean, this isn't the best. So having this external viewfinder that costs peanuts just is an absolute benefit for this tiny little camera. Now, when you look at something like the digital Bolex, it shoots amazing footage, but that thing has a hefty price to it. So to get something at this price point, around 250 bucks, is amazing. Now, it is a small camera, so when you're shooting out in the field with these lenses, you are gonna get that shakiness, that jitteriness. So using a pistol grip, this is gonna help you out in the field along with this neck strap. Now, this pistol grip over here is called Stitz. It's made in Japan, and you don't have to get the exact one. I think Small Rig makes some of these as well. I'll put the link in the description below. But you can get some vintage ones off eBay that sell for super cheap. People just throwing it away, they don't need it anymore, and they have no use for them. So pistol grips are gonna help you get that nice stabilized footage. I took it out to a few locations, and this was my setup. So attach it there, you just screw it on with a 1/4-inch screw. Put the neck strap on, and you can see that setup looks nice and vintage. Stretch out the neck strap, hold the pistol grip, and look at that. You just create tension. This is an old trick that I used to do, and I did it recently, and you're gonna get nice, smooth handheld footage with most of your lenses. So I'll let you look at that for a second. Got the LCD V6, it's a magnetic clip. Clip it to the back of the EOS M. You've got the C-mount lens, which I'll talk about in a second, and then you've got this grip over here. Create that tension, and you're gonna get that nice, smooth, stabilized footage. So what you're seeing right now is all shot with the EOS M 2.2K RAW resolution, and with this mode on the EOS M, it has a big crop factor, around 3.5 times crop. Now the very last part to this rig is, of course, the vlogging mirror. This thing I cannot do without. I mean, I actually had to go recording myself with this Super 16 lens that I have on my EOS M. I screwed this onto the top, flipped it out, and then turn this hand grip around so you have a nice comfortable grip on the other side. And then you're pretty much ready to rock and roll, just like that. So I was out vlogging with the C-mount lens, a vintage lens that costs peanuts. And here is a shot I got with my EOS M shooting 2.2K RAW, a 2:1 aspect ratio on this $250 camera. And you can see that the look is very old-fashioned like. It's very filmic. And I mean, for the price of these lenses, they cost peanuts. I took this whole setup to a few locations, went to the beach, I went to the gardens, and out to the city. And I have to say, I'm absolutely amazed with what this setup can create. Now, the power solution that I used was a dummy adapter, DRE12, and that has a cable that comes out to USB-C, and that went right into my PowerVault 3 power bank. It's 10,000 milliamps, and it worked fantastic. It was right in my pocket, and I had the cable hanging out, which worked absolutely fine. I didn't have to put anything on top or on the side, right in my pocket, and I was just firing away. Okay, so now we're gonna look at the settings that I used to get that Super 16-like vintage film look with the Canon EOS M and Magic Lantern RAW. Now, if you are new to Magic Lantern, I've made a video on how to install that, the settings that I use, how to set it up, all that stuff I'll put in the link in the description below, so check that out. But the settings I used was 2.2K RAW. It was the 2.5K FRTP mode. So, you know, you get that little box on the top left and that shows you exactly what you're recording. You know, it isn't cropped in the live view. You see exactly what your frame is, and it's a crop mode. So it's around 3 to 3.5 times crop. And that's gonna allow you to shoot with these Super 16 lenses. Now, in order to mount these lenses onto the Canon Eos M, what you need is a C-mount to EOS M adapter. It's a screw mount, so all you do is screw the lens onto it. You just clip it onto the Canon Eos M like that, and you're pretty much ready to shoot. Now, you can't use these C-mount lenses on full-frame cameras or APS-C bodies, otherwise you'll get vignettes. So what you need is crop sensor or crop mode if your camera supports that. With cameras like the EOS M, you can't do it unless you have Magic Lantern, which allows you to shoot with the extra crop modes. Okay, so for this next part, what lenses do I recommend? What am I using right here? So first things first, you gotta understand that these are old lenses. These are not gonna be super sharp. You're gonna get crisp, clinical optics. You know, these are gonna have flaws, you're gonna have aberration, and that's what actually draws us to them. You know, they have characters that you can't get with, you know, for example, these modern glass, the Canon 10-18, and you can see the size difference between these lenses. Look at that difference. This is a C-mount glass, and this is an APS-C lens, the Canon 10-18. And you can see why some people would like to shoot with these C-mount lenses, because, you know, you might have a small little camera and you want a small solution, something that's nice and compact, and this is what these C-mount glasses offer for such a cheap price. Not only that, some of these lenses have fast apertures. For example, this is it's a Cosmicar Pentax 16mm. It's very wide and it has an f1.4 aperture. So with the aperture, you're gonna get a nice blurry depth of field, especially if you're using crop censored cameras. It's definitely better than shooting f2.8 or f2. f1.4 is gonna work fantastic in low light. And again, I got this lens for around 70 to 80 bucks. They're super cheap, and you know, for what they offer, this is a 16mm f1.4. I think the Sigma Art 16mm f1.4 costs around 350 or 400 bucks. But these are an absolute tiny, and they give you that vintage Super 16 like look. Now, the C-mount lens that I've been using on my Canon EOS M the most, I mean, I took this lens out everywhere with me. I've shot heaps and heaps of footage with this one lens. I left some of these at home. You know, I tested, I think, the Cosmicar Pentax, but most of these stayed home, and I took out the Cosmicar 12.5mm f1.9 lens. You can see it has like a zebra type look. It's vintage, it's classical, and the focus throw, my goodness, this thing is around 270 degrees. So you can get that nice, precise focus going. The aperture isn't declicked, unfortunately, but with some of these lenses, you can get declicked aperture. So if you're shooting indoors and then you transition to outdoors, you can get that nice, smooth aperture movement. But the Cosmicar 12.5mm f1.9 has been my favorite C-mount lens that I've used for the price. And that's because with the EOS M, when you're shooting the high resolution modes like 2.5K RAW or even 2.8K, then these modes have a bit of a crop, around 2.96 times or 3.5 times, depending which mode you use. So the wider the better, in my opinion. If you're looking at C-mount glass, go for the wider lens, 8mm, you know, 12mm, 10mm. All these lenses are going to be fantastic if they are wide. For example, I have a 25mm, but when you times that by 3.5, you're going to have like around a 90mm to 100mm lens. And, you know, without a grip, without a neck strap, you're going to get really shaky footage. So for me, my preference, I like wide angle lenses, and these do come cheap like I mentioned. The Cosmicar 12.5mm just has this unparalleled film-like look that I can't get with my other lenses, especially the Canon 10-18mm. It's a wide lens, it has stabilization, but there's something about these old vintage glass that just produce this amazing character and help you get that film-like look on a budget. Now, I've used a range of C-mount glass. Every glass is gonna be different. You know, this Pentax 16mm f1.4 has a like Helios type swirl. It has amazing character that I can't get with, for example, the Apollo 25mm f1.9. Yes, it's got a fast aperture, but these lenses don't swirl. The Cosmicar Pentax 16mm f1.4 does swirl. So with each lens, you're gonna get, you know, different varieties of character, but nevertheless, you're gonna get that old film-like look because these are vintage glass and they're not clinical as you get with your modern day glasses. Now, all these shots here are done with my EOS M in 2.2K RAW with 2:1 aspect ratio with this one lens, the Cosmicar 12.5mm f1.9. And what I did to get these stabilized shots is just use the neck strap, stretch out, create that tension, and just pan left and right or up and down depending on what type of shot I was trying to get. And I was able to just produce fantastic results with this budget little lens. Now you're probably thinking, how did I get these clips going? How did I get the footage, that look? And to be honest, it is very, very simple with Magic Lantern. So the first things first, I exported my .mlv files in MLV app, which is the app that you use to process them. And I exported them as Cinema DNG lossless. I put them up on DaVinci Resolve. I'm running DR17. I used color management set to Rec 709 as output, and the quality was just there right off the bat. I didn't have to do much. All these lenses help to create that nice film look. They had all the imperfections that you don't get from modern glass. And you know, it wasn't that hard to get these types of looks, especially for the price that you pay for these lenses. They're absolute no-brainers, and they will help you for sure to get this Super 16 look. Now, yes, I did shoot with the letterbox, 2:1 aspect ratio. It's a favorite look of mine. And of course, with Magic Lantern RAW, you can change aspect ratios in camera. So you can shoot 4:3, 16:9, 1.85 to 1, 2.35 to 1, all these different aspect ratios you can set in camera. So it's completely up to you if you want to shoot 4:3, but this is the aspect ratio that I chose to shoot with, and I'm absolutely happy with the results, especially considering the price that I paid for these lenses and this camera. So that's pretty much it. That's how I go about shooting that Super 16-like film look with my Canon Eos M. This is my rig: the pistol grip, the cage, the mirror, the external viewfinder, and these C-mount lenses, which you can get for a good price. If you guys enjoyed the video, then give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.